It's New Year's Day. I've been in the shed again. I've actually started looking at another mower. It isn't actually in here because I took it apart outside. It's another Honda HRD535, but this one has got roller issues. There is all the bits and pieces from the roller. I've took it apart to investigate what was wrong. I'm not going to get oily hands at the moment, but I'll try to show you. Just in there, there's some needle bearings, and that was all seized, so I think that's probably the problem with it. But I'm never sure how good the bevel gear drive should be, so I'll have to probably invest in a few bits for it, put it back together, then give it a test on one of the mowers and then see if it's any good. The bearings are all, and the needle bearings in there as well are a bit poor, so I'll probably buy some and try to get it back together, because I'd like to know what them sort of gears look like new. It doesn't look like it's massively worn, so we'll have to see how that goes. But what I've done here is a roller, and actually I had one in the drawer to drive. I have not got the foggiest where it come from. I can't remember where it come from or anything. I don't know whether I ever took it off of anything or whether I just acquired it. I have not got a clue, but it seems to actually work okay. I did fix one a while back, and what it sort of had overrun on it, and when you let the lever off, it just carried on driving. But I don't think it was this one, because it doesn't to me look like, well, actually, say that is loose there, so I'm not sure what was actually wrong with this one. It doesn't look like I've had it apart though, because it doesn't look really clean. So I'll try it, because I think this is the same as the other one. So if it doesn't work, I'll investigate why it doesn't. But that keeps slipping. But it does sort of seem like it works on there. There was a bit of the bearings are poor in there. In the end, they're not very good, and I had to space it a bit at the other end. But at the moment, this is just going to go back on the mower quickly to test this drive to see if the drive works. Then I'll look into it more, because on this drive here, them needle bearings in there are okay on this. They don't need changing. So there's, if you look, well, you always get a little bit of movement up and down, because that's between the two circlips, but there's hardly any play there. It was sort of sunk a little bit in the middle, if you know what I mean, before on that one, because they are quite worn in there. So we'll see if it's any good. I haven't heard the mower run. The person I got it off told me it run, but then it stopped, so that'll just more than likely be a carburetor issue again. This one isn't in quite as good condition as the other one. It's got a slight break on the back corner, which I'll show you underneath the flap, what I showed you before, but it's not in bad condition. It's definitely worth repairing, and the actual roller itself looks okay on this. It doesn't look worn through. It looks a bit rusty and dirty and that, but that's not a problem. Just give that a scrape off and that, and that'll be good to go. But I'll be interested to see whether this gearbox is good. I want to sort of know these gearboxes inside out, and I took another one apart. I've just got one in a box over there out. That was off another machine, but they had different amount of cogs. I think some of the old newer ones have different amount of teeth on the cogs than the older ones. So I think with this, if I put the new bearings and everything in it and it slips or whatever, it's going to be that. So it's going to be depending whether I'd be spending £40 on it or not, because I think them ones are £40. I think the other ones, the more gears, are more expensive, or sometimes might work the other way. But I think because these are the old ones, they're probably likely to be a bit cheaper. But the rest of the casing in that is quite good. There are not really much to them. There is like some sort of a clutch system thing on them, but this one, it would indicate it was probably okay, because the bearings broke in that bit, that output shaft, which would go in, where are we, in there. So the cog bit was inside, and then that connects onto that piece like that. So we'll have to see how it goes, but yeah, I'll have a go with that tomorrow probably, see if I can just chuck it on and get it going, and then if it's good, it's good. If it's not, I'll have to see what I'll do next. But what I could do, if this one is playing up, I could put some of that inners out of this one in this one, and hopefully that might solve the problem, because I think I can make one good one out of the two and it wouldn't actually cost me anything. But I will buy that. I think they do a kit which does the needle bearing I need there, and the oil seal, them two needle bearings and the oil seal, and the circlips, I think, and the end bearings in the rollers. I think they do the whole complete kit, which I do them with a press. My dad's got a press up his. I just do them with a press and press them in. You definitely need them because there is a bit of play there. But so back on with this HRD535. To recap, this is the second one of these I've got. The other one was a completed video the other day. This one had the roller issues, which you'd have just seen. So the rollers down there. I'm going to fit that back on in a minute. I'm going to see if it's any good. I'm not holding out a massive amount of hope for that, but I will know if that isn't no good. At least I can make sort of one out of the two then, and hopefully that will solve the problem and make it work. So I will put a cable. I'll put the cable on that first and then just put it through there, just to save me having to mess around underneath with the cable. It would just be easier to do it like that. I had to find one of them amongst my spares because that wasn't on the engine. I disconnected that for some reason. I reckon when the drive jammed, they were like just pushing it along, and so the blade was still working but the drive wasn't. They just sort of disconnected it. So I found one of them. Actually them and the other part, which is it on the bench still? Yep. This is the other part, another spare bit I had. That whole unit, I looked up the price. It's a ridiculous price. I think it's like £120 or something for that from Honda, and isn't really much to it, but yeah, that's how much it is. So that's why it's good to keep spares, otherwise it wouldn't be worth a pair of these things. I've got another mower outside there. That is actually the 6 horsepower one. I'll actually quickly show you that. That is in a right mess. There's certain people that will enjoy seeing a Honda in this state. I think you know who you are. But look, if you see there, look how it's cracked away from there. You know, it wouldn't be no surprise to see this green and Briggs and Stratton on the top and H on the front with a broken deck like that. They've had to go some to break it like that. It's a little joke there, but you'll know who it's to. But there's some real good spares on this actually, so, and the actual roller might be alright. As it's broke there, it might mean the roller was actually okay, but it's covered in paint and everything. How some people treat these things, you know, the sort of money that I knew, you know, this really mistreated. But there's some really good spares in that on there, so that will come good. I probably will break that and just label the spares rather than keep the whole thing around, but because it's hard to push like this there. But anyway, let's get back onto what we're actually working on at the moment. And yeah, so the carb's all, I don't think I told you, but the carb's all clean now, all done. I've never tried to start it. I think it was, yeah, I think it was blocked and that. The person told me before he started it started quick then stopped, so I just thought I'm not even going to bother pulling it, just clean the carb so I know it's good, but I know it's clean, and then try it when I've got this gearbox and that back on. And to be honest, they're pretty easy to put on. There's only really bolt through that side and a little bit of bits and pieces on for the height adjuster and that, and it's pretty simple really. It's just on the bench here it might be a bit harder. I might have to sort of tip it to the side or even take it outside now, stop raining, just to get that drive on quickly, but we'll see. I can't really show you that, but I'll show you it when it's back on. I'm starting to try and get this roller back on, but this is not how to. This is how not to do it. Don't do it on a bench like this. It's difficult unless you've got someone to help you to hold it up. It's just difficult. It's better to be outside, laying on its side and working from both sides at a time. So that's what I'm going to do now. Take it outside, lay it on so the exhaust is down, because I've actually connected that side. That's about all there is that side. There's nothing else really goes there. I need a cover. But it to keep everything in place and everything, it's just difficult like this. So so what I've just done is put a screwdriver in there, just hold it in place, just waiting for my partner to come out and give me a lift with it, because these are heavy things. and then I'll tip it to the side, and then I can fit it all back. This is only to test it. It's got to come back off again, because if it's good, I'm going to replace them 2 bearings in the end there. There's some circlips to replace and some washers I haven't actually put in at the moment. It shouldn't affect trying it. So, but no, the drive's all right. Then I'll well, I've actually ordered the bearings and I'm waiting for them now. But the circlips I haven't. But I've got a funny feeling. No, I'm not sure. I thought I had some, but I don't think I have. But I should be able to sort something out with that. But she's here now, so we'll carry it outside and I'll show you. Well, we have it up and running now. The Honda HRD. First, we do have trouble with the drive. Overrunning to the stop. So yeah, it's I don't know how well you can hear me, but it's overrunning. I think this is the gearbox I had off an HR535, which I had the same problem with a while ago. I used a different gearbox on that machine, but I can only really think it's the clutch part that will be over and not clicking off. So I'm thinking if I use the clutch part out the old drive to come off this, and then do it like that, because the gears aren't slipping or anything when it's starting. So the gear bevel and that should all be okay. So yeah, I'm thinking it's probably to do with the clutch side of things. So if I change that over, I think it might be alright. It means getting it off again, but a bit trial and error. It doesn't take very long really, to be honest. But I do know the engine's up and running. These older ones seem to be a bit harder to start, and when you turn the fuel off, they tend to be quite a few pulls before they start again. I think it's better to leave the fuels on. I'm half tempted to actually do away with the fuel tap and just so it's left on all the time. But I do that with my own mowers. They've got fuel taps on, but that's what I do anyway. But that's not an important problem at the moment. I do know the drive sort of works. It's just annoying. It's not clicking off, and I can only think that's on that clutch bit that it's doing that. So because that should kick straight off when it releases. So I've slackened the cable off, so it isn't that. The cable's fairly, if you look there, fairly slack at the moment. So it is right off almost. So it isn't that. And but we're sort of getting somewhere with this, but not that fast. So I'll probably get the drive off. Might leave it at the moment, but I'll get the drive off again and take it apart, swap bits over, and then throw it back on, and then see if that solves the petrol's problem. I'm saying petrol because I was looking at the carb. When I put it back again and tried to start, I thought, where's all the fuel coming from? I've got to put the fuel pipe back on, so we get Russian things. But the rollers and that aren't too bad. I will have to replace them. Hi, I've moved on a bit more. You'd have seen from the last video, actually the video cut at the end because the phone lost charge, but you can sort of see it didn't work. It kept jamming on. Well, what I'm doing here, I'm starting to get a little confused what I've took apart and what I haven't now. But this is the drive that was on it. Yeah, that was on the mower I've just tried. And I'm changing that shaft, and I've changed the clutch. They're actually slightly different. I think this drive is off an older mower. Could even be off an HR194 even, or the 216. So what I've done is just change the clutch over, and I've got to change that because that's got to be wider on this one. I think all the case and everything's the same. It's a little bit trial and error. This is. It's going to take me time. It's a bit annoying because I'm having to spend the time on it, but I want to. Like I said before, I want to know these gearboxes. So I basically, if someone says to me, I've got a problem with my gearbox on my Honda, I'll say, I can fix it. And I'll know more or less straight off what it is. So there's not a lot in them that can be wrong actually. So I've basically changed 2 bits in this. So hopefully the 2 bits I've changed will stop it jamming on. Actually the cog looks really good in this one. So that's good. They're all okay. So basically if I get this back on, it works, it'll be okay. I shall open up again to re-grease it or whatever. I think the new ones are filled with oil. These old ones seem to be filled with a grease. I don't know whether the grease is such a good thing, but at the moment to try it, it doesn't really matter massively, because I shall have it apart, clean it all out, and probably put some oil in it next time, and then hopefully it won't jam up. So yeah, it's I've got everything in bits here, and it's a bit confusing what's what. But after I fix this one, I should sort of know what's what. But then I'm just thinking, what is that one off of? There. I don't know, but whatever. I'm gonna know about these a little bit by the end of the day. So I'll catch up with you soon. Yeah, just to finish off the video, I'll show you it's all working quickly on my grass. I'll give it a bit of a cut anyway. But it's a bit muddy. Just to show you it working, but it all seems to work satisfactory. Really, it's good enough. The engine's going to have a service. The recall rope I've done on this one. It needs a plug. I haven't done the plug yet. Air filter, I'm waiting for it. I've ordered it. The carb's been clean. Seems to run okay. These are a bit of a pain to start when they pull over a long time before the carb gets going. They improved that on the newer ones as well, but I've seemed to have, when I've got them running, the fuel flowing, seems to be quite good. So I think on these, leave the fuel tap undone while you're messing around with the system, sort of stopping the fuel. Well, to be honest, it shouldn't really make any difference really, but it does seem to a little bit on these. Yeah, I'm not great over the old the smaller engines really, but the silly thing was they were making these, and before this the HR216s were 6 horsepower and these were only 5 horsepower, so it's been a bit of a silly move when they the older ones had a powerful engine, then they sort of went back to these ones. But I don't know when the HRH started. Perhaps if they were marketing the HRH at the same time, they put the bigger engine on them, as you know, you were getting a better mower, better engine, better wheels, and the bar on the front. And I think the other decks might be a bit thicker as well. I'm not 100% sure on that. But anyway, this is all right. So yeah, I'll leave it there, and you'll just see it running, and then we'll leave it. Yeah, you'll see that running then. It's running okay, and it doesn't like, they don't like the blade braking, but it just must be the way they are. They're both the same model. Yeah, they're both the same models, this and the other one, and they don't like the blade brake being put on. I think it's down to that weaker engine, like I said. But if you ease it in carefully, or ease it in when it starts on choke, it's alright then. So as you're using it, it tends to be better when you're using it, so it just must be the way it is. I've got to sort out the blade now as well on this, but yeah, we can call that video sort of done then. That drive seems to be pretty good. I'm glad I sorted that. So thanks for watching. I'll be along with another video again soon.